It's not unlikely that you've never heard of this game called REKA. It lets you play as a young witch in training under the legendary witch Baba Jaga. Part of why this might be the case is because it really is a pretty unique and niche game that doesn't try to cater to a broad audience, but instead offers something new that only a select group of players are going to enjoy. The game is coming pretty soon in August, so let's take a look at this. Character creation is a thing, and it isn't bad for this type of game, to be honest. You can't go all crazy, but you can at least make a decent looking character, which we know is not always the case. You start your journey near a town in a magical forest, where everyone's kind of scared of this witch living in the woods. People warn you to not go near the witch, but naturally, we of course decide to do just that. Turns out that wasn't the worst idea we've ever had, because she takes us in as her apprentice. And from there's a rather lengthy tutorial that requires us to fetch various items, and it also introduces us to the resource gathering mechanic, which I could see some people may find too simplified, because you use these spectral crows to fetch those items for you. I like the system and welcome it, because I haven't seen it in this way before, so I appreciate that they are trying something new. However, what I would like is if the crows wouldn't constantly show up on your screen once they are done gathering. I would prefer them just vanishing from the screen right away. If you're curious about the forest, it is procedurally generated, which I'm usually not that much a fan of, but it does feel surprisingly atmospheric. Generally, there are some nice visual touches in this game, like things you've gathered hanging off your character's backpack. It is worth mentioning that since the visuals kinda meld together, that could potentially be problematic if you are colorblind or have other vision problems, especially coupled with the lower contrast between things. When you explore the forest, you will find yourself helping people with all kinds of problems, like finding a missing goat or dealing with some troublesome pumpkins. Once you finish your first ritual, you will be introduced to one of the core elements, which is your magical chicken-legged house. It is exactly what it sounds like, your own house on chicken legs. Their building system is pretty well done. The snapping, for example, isn't as clunky like in some other games. And this isn't just a static home either. You can actually control the house and give it commands to discover new areas to explore. But in the demo, leaving the first area also meant ending the demo. Now, what this game doesn't offer, and what could be a deal breaker for some people, is that it does, at least at the moment, not offer any meaningful survival elements. The developers mentioned they want to keep REKA a relaxing experience, with eerie elements, but without the threat. They definitely don't plan to introduce combat, but they may introduce some light survival elements in the future. The way I see it, ancient magic is about foraging, growing plants and fetching stuff. A lot of it is what inspired alchemy, and later, medicine making. So if you're into this kind of stuff, then you have a really unique game here that may scratch that itch. A like is very much appreciated if this was helpful, and I'll see you next time.